it's easier with the truck and the trailer because you have that pivot point.
Along these roads we roam, we find adventure through traveling, camping, boondocking, and exploring.
Hello everybody and welcome to Vlogcast episode number 101. My name is Russ.
And I'm Kerry.
And we are the Roads We Roam. We're a couple living full-time in a Class A motorhome.
Class A, I like the sound of that. Still not used to it. I'm so used to you saying it, little guy Max.
Yeah.
But we are getting used to we're getting used to our Class A. Mm-hmm. And it has just opened up a whole world of difference with the way that we camp.
Yeah, we've been boondocking for what? This is day number 4 here. Mm-hmm. Within those days, we've run the microwave several times. We've used you used your curling iron. Mm-hmm. We've used what else? We've charged all of our laptops, our phones.
Your killer computer.
Yeah, exactly. The TV. We've watched Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. See priorities.
And we have not yet once had to turn the generator on or plug into anything. We can't plug into anything, but our 960 watts of solar and our lithium batteries recover every day. I have to admit that this amazing Nevada sun we have here probably has a lot to do with it. Today is going to be a great day because the other days they were kind of overcast. Today there's not very many clouds in the sky, especially over us when we get about noon. Mm-hmm. When that sun is dead over those panels, I think it's going to do fantastic.
One of the things that we're doing, because we have an older used RV, we've slowly but surely been working our way through all of the systems. For example, this morning I took apart the fan system over where the inverter is. That helps keep it cool. Noticed that there was a lot of dust in there, so had to clean all that out. And just learning a little bit more every day about the system. So when we do our tour on Saturday, we'll kind of highlight all these things. And I think it was good that we were waiting a little bit because we're still finding.
Well, yeah, I mean, just things. The other day, Kerry found a Wii Boost. We knew we had amazing solar. We knew we had an Onan generator, but we didn't know we had a Wii Boost. We were still thinking, golly, we got to spend $400, $500 on a darn Wii Boost.
Which is why, if you've been following us, we had just been procrastinating about it for months now. Yeah. We knew we needed it. So many people said great things about it and that it would make a difference, but instead we would still jump in the truck and run down to McDonald's. And I think you just liked going to McDonald's to get those French fries. That's what it was.
I plead guilty to that.
Oh, one thing that I did want to touch on, if you watched yesterday's vlog, vlog 100, right at the tail end of it, it shut off.
Just abruptly cut off. What happened was when we were uploading, my computer decided that would be a great time to do its updates. So it updated and then turned off. I saw it. I was like, oh no, I went back, booted the computer back up. It started re-uploading, so I thought everything was good, and shame on me for not watching the entire video, because I think it cut off about the last 45 seconds or so.
So you really didn't miss much. We were just kind of closing everything out and doing our normal, how you can get a hold of us type of thing. So you didn't miss anything much on that one, but we did want to address it because you're typically right on Johnny on the spot with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So today we are back on track as promised because last week was kind of a change up. Mm-hmm. Today is our Q A Tuesday.
Yeah.
So we are back on track, and I'm going to start us off, and I'm going to field the first one to you. This was submitted by Julie Ferris via email, and she asks, does the water pump need to be turned on when you are hooked up to city water?
Okay, so I'm not sure for all units, but for the Little Guy Max and for our Daybreak, our Damon Daybreak Class A we have, no, it doesn't need to be turned on.
And why is that?
Because the hose pressure, that's why you have a regulator on your hose. You set it for 40 pounds of pressure. That gives you the pressure. Now, if you do want a little bit of extra pressure there, you can hit your water pump and have that running with city pressure. That's what I've done in the past, but it does not need to, no.
All right. She has another question, so she gets a twofer today.
Okay.
Can you leave the hot water heater on while you are camping?
So is this about the Little Guy Max? Is that what she's asking about?
I believe so.
Okay, so with the Little Guy Max, I don't see a problem with it as long as there's water inside the water heater itself. But the thing you have to remember is if you're running it, because on the Little Guy Max you can run it off of propane as well as electrical. Either way, you're going through power, some sort of power, and that's costly. If you're plugged in, then it's not a big deal if you're doing electrical, but propane does get kind of expensive.
Exactly.
So I would just turn it on with those small tanks. I would just turn it on when you need it. You know,
And that's
maybe
typically
20
what we
minutes
did.
before you need it, flip it on. If you're plugged in, go with electrical. If you're not plugged in, you're boondocking, go with your propane.
And that's one of the things. Keep in mind, some campgrounds now are switching over to a metered system. So if you leave it on the entire time, you're just paying for that extra usage that you're not using.
Exactly.
And for us, when we were in the Little Guy Max, it didn't take long. I think even 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I could do the dishes, or Russ could jump in the shower, and it would. That's all it would really need to heat up what we have.
I even do it this way. In the Damon Daybreak, the only way you can do it is through propane. But it's so well insulated that it tends to hold hot water for a while.
We didn't have it on, and I went to go to do the dishes like several hours later, and hot water was coming out. I didn't even think about it, turn it on, and I realized we didn't have the hot water heater on.
So I hope that answers your question.
The next one was submitted by Eric via email, and he said, how do you decide on your next destination? I saw that you don't plan on long drive days, so is there a criteria, and has your criteria evolved as you've gained more experience in the full-time life?
I will tell you my criteria, and then we're going to let Kerry give you the better answer. I just go where Kerry tells me to go.
We learned the hard way this weekend.
Yeah. I thought I knew where I was going. I didn't. But Kerry, why don't you address that? Because you're the one that typically handles our loose planning in our travel.
So we generally have a direction we want to go in. So we knew we were coming out to Vegas, for example, and we were coming from Moab. We don't like to drive more than 3 to 5 hours a day. 5 is a really long day.
Yeah.
3 hours is what we typically like. Now, when we first started, that was more because of the dogs. We talked about this a little bit yesterday in our recap. But it's just evolved to that allows us a lot more flexibility where if we want to stop and look at things along the way that you might not have known were there, or if something happens, it allows you that flexibility so you don't stress. So what I'll do is I look at our distances, and then I will try to estimate between 150 to 225 is usually what I like to have us planned. And then I see what campgrounds or boondocking places might be in that area. And then a lot of different apps are helpful, and people can check Campendium, All Stays, Escapees has their own map system. There are so many things out there that you can use to check, but do your radius and then start looking for things within that area. And then let's say there's nothing in there. Then I have to decide, do we want to push on further, or do I want something closer? And sometimes I'll mark both.
Yeah.
That way, if we drive and we're just having a long day, I've already got a location roughly planned, and then we've got our backup plan in case we didn't. We know we can push forward. So that's pretty much how we do it, and it's evolved more based off of our RV style, but it was initially prompted by having the dogs in the car.
Yep.
Now this one, we haven't heard a question from him in a while. This is Bob, aka
RHS Tools.
He's a fellow
Little Guy Max owner.
Little Guy Max owner.
He lives in it full time by himself. Yeah.
He said, hey guys, I was sorry to see you leave your LGM since we loved when you told us how to do things with our Max. But I'm a single guy living in a Max, and I cannot imagine how hard it would be living full time with another person in this small space.
Yeah.
It's great for one, but for two and two pets. 4 exclamation marks, and I think he's right on that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We'll continue to follow your travels. What I will want to know is, pulling a small travel trailer compare to driving your Class A?
So we were actually longer. We're 34 foot with the Class A. We're about 40 foot with the trailer and the truck. Now, it's easier with the truck and the trailer because you have that pivot point. And I think the wheels of the trailer follow the wheels of the truck a little bit easier. Plus, it wasn't affected by wind as much as the Class A. Now, you have to remember, I have very limited experience in the Class A, so these may change, but my initial observations after about 150 miles in the Class A, not even that, 100 miles in the Class A, are that it's easier to drive the truck. One thing that I'm very paranoid about are my right-hand turns, because I know that if you cut it too close, we've all done it, even in trucks and cars, the back tire goes over the curb or something. Not a big deal if it's just the curb, but if there's a fire hydrant there, or if you're getting gas and you pull out, you can really do some damage to that skirting or the side of your RV. So I'm learning how to know where my back tire is, because your pivot point on a Class A is that back tire. We're going to do some marking where we mark this out so we can tell exactly on the mirrors and all. But
I would be interested with that. I know you have been doing some research in that, and basically what it is you take little stickers and you're putting them on your mirrors and on your windshield to help you while you're driving to make sure you're on the road.
Yeah.
Would we have to have different colored stickers for you as well as for me?
Yeah, that's something. It'd be difficult because it'd like be wearing bifocals. You'd have to make sure you were looking at the right sticker. So I think we just set it up for the prominent driver, which would be me.
That sounds good.
Yep.
I will give you a ton of credit because we wound up buying this in the middle of downtown Las Vegas. So never having driven a Class A before, and I knew it was daunting, and it's just like, here are the keys, go, bring it back to the campground.
We had a good system though. Carrie drove behind me and she acted as a blocker. She'd let me know, all right, you're clear on that right side, or we were talking on the phone, I'd say, hey, I want to get in the left lane. She'd move over, block the left lane. She said, there's nobody there, go ahead and move. So that helped out a lot.
So do we keep the truck?
No. No, that was just that first time through the big city.
We did also learn boondocking. We can get out on bumpy roads, but taking it much, much slower.
Yeah, exactly.
So we can still get to the cool locations, as you can tell.
Yeah.
But just an extra little thought goes into it. I made a promise to myself that I waited far too long to get behind the wheel when we had the little guy. And then when I finally did, it wasn't that bad. And I promised myself that I will get behind this a little bit more. You'll be the prominent driver, but I think for little stints, I'm going to get behind it a little bit more than I did before.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Well, that is all we have today, unless you have anything else.
No, that's it. Thank you all for joining us.
We are going to enjoy this beautiful day. I think I'm going to take my new camera out and practice with it a little bit more, and Russ is going to perfect his new song he's been learning on the oop.
I just can't play it in front of people. I get stage fright.
I will secretly record him at a certain moment. That way, he gets stage fright. He will have something down pat, and then he'll FaceTime our son, and the second he gets on, he can't play it.
Yeah.
So we'll have to figure out some way that we can get Russ's his musical skills highlighted on the show somehow.
All right, guys, that's all for now. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, comments, tips, or concerns, we would love to have them. There are multiple ways to get a hold of us.
You can get a hold of us, just like the people that submitted their questions today, via email at our blog at theroadsweroam.com. Click on that contact page, or you can click on the little orange tab and leave us a voicemail directly from your computer. You can also get a hold of us at Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to check out Pinterest, where I've created a new board. We are going to be renovating our Damon Daybreak, and we would love to have your input. So looking forward to seeing those. Talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.